Hey everybody, Norm over here, and we got a little history for you. We've got Merlene Travis, Merle Travis's daughter. And we've got my buddy Deke Dickerson, who is one of the most knowledgeable guys I know on a lot of these old guitars. And this is a 1929 Martin 018, and this was one of Merle's early guitars. And Deke, I'll let you kind of talk about it. I know Johnny Cash signed it, all these people signed it. And on the back of the guitar, it has applause, and I would need something like that because I need to remind people to applaud when I was done with the tune. But, you know, most of the time they would applaud on their own, just not when I was playing. So tell us, Steve.
Well, I don't think Merle played this professionally, but I think that he got it at some point in the 1930s when he started his professional career. And he started it at a radio station called WLW in Cincinnati, Ohio, which at the time, 1937, was the only 500,000 watt station in the entire United States. And it looks like from that point, about 1937, 1938, he started having people on WLW sign the guitar. But then he just kept having people sign it throughout his entire career. I mean, going through Los Angeles in the 1940s and 1950s, then Nashville in the 1960s and 1970s. You know, everybody from Johnny Cash and Dolly Parton have signed this guitar, all the way down to super obscure people that you've never heard of.
Captain Stubby?
Yeah, Captain Stubby and the Buccaneers. They were on WLW.
All right, there you go. Talking to the man right there. So tell us a little bit more about, you know, where did you find this? This was in historic?
Yes, my sisters and I got everything Dad had when he died in 1983. And this has been in storage for about 40 years. And we're just bringing things out and probably want to wind up in a museum, maybe in Kentucky.
Okay, Kentucky. And is there a name of the museum that it'll...
If it goes, it would be Renfro Valley, Kentucky Historical
Renfro
Museum.
Valley, Kentucky Museum.
They also have the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame there.
Yeah, isn't that it?
At Renfro Valley, yeah.
Renfro Valley.
So while I got you here, though, Deke, tell us about what you've been doing lately, because you're always doing something interesting.
Well, I've been keeping busy. I should mention that I wrote the Merle Travis book along with Merlene and Cindy's help. That was the last book I wrote, and then now currently I'm working on research for the definitive history of Mosrite, which is just one of those books that somebody should have written 25 or 30 years ago, just like the Merle Travis book. So I'm getting around to doing it, but that's
like
what I'm working on now.
You know, all the related Mosrite guitars, the hallmarks, stuff like that. You know, you love all that kind of stuff.
It's fascinating history. I mean, you know, Semi Mosley started out as a Pentecostal church guitar player, and then these guitars wound up being used by the Ventures, and then, you know, these late 60s groups like the Iron Butterfly, all the way through the MC5, Iggy and the Stooges, the Ramones, Nirvana. It's just a really interesting story.
And there was the copies. Univox actually made a copy guitar that looked like a Mosrite too, right?
Yep, the Univox High Flyer.
And Hallmark, again, you know, we had one recently that was kind of cool. It was it belonged to I'm trying to think of it. It belonged to somebody else who was pretty well known. Yeah. And we also had some really crazy double neck Mosrites and stuff like that were really cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. Yeah. And it's amazing because you'd think 2025, like everything's already been seen, everything's already been done. No, it's tons of stuff coming out of the woodwork. Yep. Just like when I met Merle's daughters, Merlene and Cindy, and saw all the stuff they had in their storage unit. There was tons and tons of undiscovered stuff, and they're just like this guitar.
Are there any pictures or anything with Merle with this?
There's I was trying to remember the name of this hillbilly character. He played this character with a big long beard and a floppy hat on WLW, and there's a photo of him holding it with the applause like that. Once I remember the character's name, I'll be able to dig that photo up.
I've seen that picture. We have pictures of him with this.
Well, it's just a cool piece of history, and we wanted you guys to see it. And Deke is always doing, really cool stuff, and what a great player too. I mean, are you still doing the Deke Fest and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we did that in Las Vegas back in April, and I just got back from Florida where I played a tiki festival, and so I'm keeping busy.
And my old bandmate, Rick Vito, did that. What was
He
the
did.
character that he did in Turban?
Oh man, this has been over 10 years now. It was King something, right?
King or Prince something. I don't remember.
He's going to
but-
get mad that I didn't remember that.
Yeah,
But you
it was
caught- you
really
caught me off
cool.
guard.
It was really cool. You
Yeah.
know, so he'd come out in a turban and he'd be doing. And Rick and I played in a band together for a couple of years back in the day, Angel City Rhythm Band. And so I played organ, and
He's another guy that knows a thing or two about guitars.
yes, he does. Well, thank you guys for watching, and you know, it's just really cool that we can bring you some of this stuff. You know, this all needs to be archived and everything so that people can look at stuff like that and go, wow, this is what people did with their instruments back in the day, and it was a way for him to kind of chronicle all these people that he met, and you know, scratching it into the finish of an old Martin. A lot of people would frown on that, but it actually has history to go with it, so we can forgive Merle for doing that.
It's a pretty impressive artifact and amazing that it survived.
Absolutely. Marlene, thank you so much for
Sure.
coming in. Deke, as always, you know, your family here. Great Deke Dickerson, Merlene Travis, right here at Norm's Repertoires. Thank you, guys.